Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Bubble Talk. This week, we have some bubble tea straight from Tea Live, and this is no sugar matcha latte. Have you guys ever tried a matcha latte without any sugar? Well, let's try it out. You know, it tastes like matcha. It tastes like a powder in my mouth. Next time, I'm going to get a little bit of sugar in there because I should put a little bit more in. So how's everyone doing? It's been a wonderful week. I'm sure that a lot of you had many things happening, and especially those of you in Malaysia. We've kind of loosened the MCO over here, so you have like 4 people in the same car, and some restaurants for dine-in has opened up outside of Selangor. So I hope that a lot of you are kind of slowly going out a little bit. But for me, myself, I'm still waiting for the hair salon. Yep, that's how I feel. I'm still, if you look at here, I have a tail. This is going off the moment the salon opens. Oh my God, my hair's starting to curl upwards. All right, welcome everyone to today's Bubble Talk. I'm very thankful and grateful that all of you have come today. What is today's topic? A very interesting topic all of us want to know is, how do I know I have good friends? Right? Do you know if you have good friends or not? Now, I know when you look all over the internet, you talk about true friends, and there's like advice here saying, oh, true friends are like this, true friends are like that. And I want to kind of dispel some of the myths of what true friends are, but I also want to kind of reshape the way you think about what kind of friends you have. So, you know, a lot of people write in their YouTubes, like, what's a true friend? And you know, what's the most common one? They're there all the time, right? They're there through thick and thin, and they'll always be there. And of course, I'm not saying that's not something what a true friend or a good friend would do. That's definitely something they would do, but it's not the only thing. So we're going to go a little bit deeper in it today. And of course, I need to tell you the important things, what you need to know of how do you know you had good friends or not. And on top of it, if you know these, then you can become a better friend too. Now, of course, based on experience and based on our life things, these are things that can teach us about how do we know we have good friends or not. But even more importantly than this is, we need to understand, we need like a moral baseline or a standard to look from. And that's why every week, what are we looking from? The book of wisdom that has been used for the last 1,500 years, over 5 billion copies over the last 200 years. Of course, we're looking at the Bible. If you don't believe in the Bible, don't believe in God, that's fine. What we're here to do is learn from the wisdom that comes from this great book. So let's start with the most important thing. What is the foundation of friendship? Or I'm not going to even say just friendship. I'm going to say relationships in general. Because when someone says to me, well, you know, are friendships and like boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband and wife the same? And the answer is, of course, they're not the same in level, but they still have the same foundation. Why? Think about it. You're not going to get married unless you were friends before. Right? You're not going to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend that wasn't your friend before. That'd be too weird. Right? It's like, I want to date someone who I'm not friends with. Like, it's kind of weird, right? Relationships, they go in stages, and friendship happens right before it gets into a more serious stage of boyfriend, girlfriend, or like husband and wife. So that's why when I say, what's the foundation of relationships? They're all kind of mashed up together, okay? So we're going to take a look at the first Bible verse of the day. It's 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 22. Interesting, what does it say? It says, now that you have purified yourselves by obeying the truth so that you have sincere love for each other, then you can love each other deeply from the heart. What has to happen? You have to first have truth, and then love comes along. But these are the 2 pillars, right? The 2 pillars of the foundation of a relationship is truth and love. You cannot be missing one or the other. If you're missing either truth or love, what happens is pain and suffering comes along the way. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have love, but there's no truth. So the first good example is, what if you love someone based on a lie? You know what I mean? Like, they only lied to you about, they just find out everything you like, and they say that they're everything you like. Oh yeah, I like romantic walks on the beach. I'm a really funny person, and I'm like this, and it's everything you like. But if it's a lie, what happens is you'll fall in love in the beginning, but when you find out later they're really not like that, then obviously there's pain and suffering, right? Also, if you think about this, when there's lies, like lies can be other different things, which means like, what's truth? Truth can also mean So you just love them so much, but no truth can also mean there's no trust and there's no sincerity, right? Because, wow, imagine you just love someone, but all the things are not true. And what happens in the end is when you find out, are you going to say, oh, but I loved you before when I didn't know they were lies? Or would you be like, oh, was it all a lie? Right? And then you'd be sitting there like, no, I don't like this person anymore. Why? Because in order for there to be real love, there has to be truth, honesty between two people. Now, the second thing I told you is, what if you have truth without love? Like, how can you be in a situation when you have truth without love? Very, very easy. Very, very easy. When you have love without truth, it's like when someone is so emotionally attached to someone and they're blinded by what is true, which means like, imagine your husband or even your wife or your boyfriend or girlfriend or your friends, there's a toxic relationship. They just treat you terribly. But because you just love them so much, you let them treat you terribly. And all your friends are like, are you crazy? Are you going to let them do that to you? And because you're so in love with this person, what happens is you become blind to what is true is they don't really love you or they don't really care for you that much. Let me give you a good example when it comes to people in like a relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend and stuff. One of the truths between two people that I've encountered a lot when I counsel couples is one person obviously doesn't like the other, but they won't break up with them. Do you know why? Because they're a good person and they haven't done anything wrong. So since they haven't done anything wrong, they don't want to break up because then they feel bad. So what happens here is, the truth is they're a good person. Truth is they've been with you through the whole time. The truth is they're good to you too. But if there's no love, what happens? You're not fulfilled. And you're staying in a relationship where you're just there because they haven't done anything wrong. And you know what eventually happens in this relationship? It gets so toxic. Do you know why? Because you're waiting for them to make a mistake so you can break up. So in your mind, you're making it worse and worse, just waiting for the mistake to happen. And that is truth without any love. You need both, right? The relationship shouldn't exist because they're a good person. Why? There's tons of good people in the world. What matters more than just having a good person is you need love involved too. Okay? So that's what the two foundational pillars of a relationship is: love and truth. So let's go to the 4 things. I'm talking about 4 signs of a good friendship or a good relationship. Okay? So as long as we have truth and love, we got to remember truth and love are the 2 things that matter. We're going to take a look at 4 signs. First sign is this: how do they react to bad news? And of course, we've heard this before, like, when it's your dark hour, you went through a very difficult time, and you're just struggling and going through so much, and then you have the what do you call it? The courage to tell someone what you're going through. You don't want it to be like this. Look at Job chapter 4, verse 7. Job is in the worst situation ever. He had boils, his family was killed, he lost his job, and he's by himself without a house or anything. You know what his friend says to him? Who being innocent has ever perished? Where were the upright where were the upright ever destroyed? When were they, right? Think about this. He's like, can you imagine you're going through the tough time in your life and they're like this? Hey, dude, you wouldn't go through this if you weren't bad. If you wouldn't go through this if you didn't do something wrong. Like, this is crazy, right? Sometimes there's people out there that their reaction to bad news is they kind of throw you deeper into the pit. And they say, man, it's your fault. You're terrible. What they basically do is they crush your spirit. Your spirit's already down, and you put trust into your friend, and you have the courage to tell them something bad that's happened, and then they crush you even more, and they step on you. You idiot. It's your fault. What do we need to do? And we're taking a look at another Bible verse, Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. And this is a very, very powerful verse, and it says, carry each other's burdens. Carry each other's burdens. What does that mean? It means that this is how you carry each other's burdens. Number 1 is you have to listen really well and really understand what they're saying to you, what they're going through, right? This is something we all have to work on. Where sometimes when someone tells you something wrong is going, something bad happened, for guys, I'm going to just tell you, for guys, one of the things we want to do right away is we want to fix it. Oh, well, you should have done this. Oh, you should have done, let's go and beat that person up. The guys are kind of like that. But we have to learn to listen first And we have to sincerely try to understand what this person is going through. And this is something that's a very, very good thing. That this is something that's really amazing, is if you tell your friend what you're going through, and even if you have something that great happen to you, you don't say anything, and you carry the burden with them. Can you imagine that? Oh man, I lost my job. Oh man, I just got promoted and I just got $15,000 raise. and the person's like, good for you. No, listen carefully, understand. It's not about whose fault. It's not about we're trying to fix a situation. We need to listen. And even if you have good news, hold it. That good news doesn't have to go out at that time. At that time, a good friend will listen to you, and they'll have empathy towards you and say, "Oh, wow," and they'll take care of you at that time. Okay. So, what is it? The first one, signs of a good friendship. Number one is reaction to bad news. They're not going to push you down more, but they're going to carry the burden with you. Right? They're going to do it together with you. Second thing, sign of a good friendship. Reaction to good news. Now, this is very interesting. Like what? Like what? What do you mean reaction to good news? Now, I'm going to tell you this. Sometimes it takes courage to say good news. Why? Because you don't want to brag. You don't want to tell people, hey, guess what, guys? I just got 50,000 ringgit. My mom just bought me a car. My mom just bought me. And it kind of sounds like you're bragging, or you almost feel like you don't want to make other people feel bad because you got blessed so much. So, for a lot of people too, it takes courage for you to tell someone that something good happened to you. Now, if they are a good friend, what should they do? And the answer is, a good friend will celebrate with you. That's what good friends do. You got to check out your friends. Friends are not, there's people out there that love misery. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to hear you have something good happen to you, and you know what the first thing they do is they steal your joy, and they say, yeah, well, you know what happened to me 4 years ago? Yeah, 4 years ago I got 100,000 ringgit. It's 4 years ago. And some other people, they'll talk about not even themselves, they'll talk about someone they don't even know. They'll be like, well, yeah, you know what? I heard there was another person on the news that won the lottery. And all they're doing is taking away your joy. Good friends, this is a really big one to think about, is when you give good news, their reaction is they celebrate with you. That's what should happen. You should be happy for each other. That's what good friends do. And you have to celebrate it, or else, you find these people that just can't stand it when other people are happy. Why? Because they're miserable themselves, right? So what they do is they take away your thunder, take away your joy by talking about something greater that happened a long time ago, or someone they don't even know. There must be genuine celebration if someone is a good, true friend. Oh, are you serious? No way, you got the ring. Dude, just go out. You know what? I'm going to take you out for dinner. Even though they're the ones that got the 15,000 ringgit raise, I'm going to take them out for dinner. That's great, right? You have to be able to celebrate with each other. And this is a really good one you have to think about. So let's go to number 3, right? The third good sign of a good friendship, having a good friend, is they talk in front and not behind. What does that mean? Talk in front and not behind. It means that there has to be honesty and trust between two people. That because the trust is there between the two of you, there's a trust that I can say something to you that you've done wrong, or you've hurt me, or whatever it is, and both of us are going to be okay. Let's look at Proverbs chapter 16, verse 28. It says, a perverse person stirs up conflict, and gossip separates close friends. And if you think about it, it's hard to say you're close friends if they're gossiping about you, right? There has to be that honesty and trust that I talk in front of you, not behind you. But you know what? Let me give you a secret. I'm going to give you a big secret, because some people say to me like, oh, but sometimes you do something so bad you don't want to tell your friend. Even though you're close to them, you just feel so bad. And I'm going to tell you one of the big secrets about friendships, relationships, even marriage. Huge secret, okay? This comes from Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 12. Right? A good friend of mine taught me leadership, said a relationship needs a minimum 3 people to be healthy. Like what? It says, though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. What does this mean? It means the most safest relationship has 3 people involved. The Bible's chock full of three, like the Holy Trinity. Also, when people get married, it's husband, wife, and God. There's always three together. Why? Because sometimes there are terrible things that happen, or you're so ashamed, or things that you might be embarrassed about, or things you may not be able to talk to the next person about. And when you have a good mediator, a third person, this is the one that knows both sides well, and it's trusted between the three of you. And you guys, I'm telling you this, if you want really healthy relationships, there should be a third. There should be a third you trust, that both of you trust. That when it gets really bad or difficult, or the person just not listening, even though you tell them multiple times, you go to the third person, say, hey, gosh, I'm not sure what to do anymore. Because, yeah, sometimes we need to confide in other people too. You know what the problem is if there's only two, is when you get into a fight, you can't confide in them anymore. Because there's hurt between the two of you. And that's why there's a best friend or a close friend, a trusted friend too, that is the third person, which is a mediator. Even between us and God, there was a mediator, right? In 1 Timothy 2:5, it says, there's one God, one mediator between God and mankind, which is Jesus Christ, right? There's a mediator in between. Even God has a mediator between us and him, right? There's a mediator. Everyone, you need to kind of open your relationships and have really good friends too that you trust on both sides. Because there's no relationship that hasn't had a rocky path. There's no relationship without arguing. There's no relationship that hasn't had any of these things. And when that time comes and you have no one to talk to because you're angry at your husband or you're angry at your girlfriend, you need that person you trust in too. And that's why one of the secrets is it's the smallest number you need for a relationship is actually 3 and not 2. Think about this. In a marriage, why do they divorce? Because the two of them couldn't fix it. And that's why there's a marriage counselor. There's someone that comes in between. So this is one of the secrets. We could talk about this a little bit more deeper at another time, but I hope you realize this is one of the secrets in relationships. You need the third person. All right, let's go to the fourth and last sign of a good friendship. It is forgiving without grudges, right? A good friend will forgive without grudges. Why? Right? Look at Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. It says, bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you have a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord has forgiven you. Right? One of the things when it comes to love and truth, this love, if someone truly loves you, they don't want awkwardness. Right? They don't want something between you that makes you angry. That's when someone really loves someone, they want to forgive. Why? Because they don't want to be in a relationship where it's awkward and weird and you feel that animosity in your heart. Oh, I can't believe they did that to me. When you love, you don't want those things. You don't. Forgiveness, you got to think about this. Because you love, forgiveness allows comfort to come back into the relationship. The worst part is when there's something between the two of you and you don't resolve it, it'll come back later. But if a true friend really loves you, then a true friend wants to get back to a restored state where it was before, where it's not awkward and weird. And this is why good friends, if you have a good true friend, they will forgive without grudges. Because of that love, they don't want to be in the situation where there's something between you guys that's not good. It's a negative feeling, okay? So those are the 4 points I gave you today. Of course, one is how they react to bad news, how they react to good news, talking in front, not behind, and forgiveness without grudges. Which leads us to our conclusion, right? Our conclusion is this. I want you guys to change your perception about the relationships that you have right now. Remember, there are things out there about good friends stick to the end, but you know what? There are bad friends that stick to the end too. There are. Look at Proverbs chapter 18, verse 24. And what does it say? It says that one who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. There are friends that can destroy you. They can. Actually, in another version of the Bible, it does say destroy. There are friends that can destroy you. Some friends can destroy the relationship, and they'll always be there. Why? Because you let them be there to continuously destroy whatever you have. What I'm telling you is the perception in your mind is not just about someone who stays there to the end. Why? Because there are unhealthy people who are there to the end too. What I'm telling you to change in your mind is it is okay to change friends. It's okay. It is. Why? Because if they are a really true and good friend, It's not just about truth. It's not just about love. It's both truth and love, right? These two pillars of the relationship have to be there. And if we realize, if there's someone there who's always been there, but they're toxic, and they treat you poorly, and they're negative, that's not a good sign, which means there are times you should switch your friends. Don't feel like, even when I talk about relationships, just because they're good to you, if there's no love, it's not worth it. Why? The key point of relationship is not about how well they treat you. It's about how much you love each other. You have to be willing to change what's in your mind. It's not about those things. It's not the only thing. There are many other things that matter too, because there are more than good people that stick with you until the end. So I hope that all of you understood today's topic of how do I know if I have good friends? And in another way you could think about this is, are you a good friend? Right? Are you a good friend to the people around you? And with these 4 good signs, I hope that all of you can either see the friends around you or see what kind of a friend you are too. Now, all of you, if you haven't seen all the Bubble Talks, there's this Bubble Talk Live on Facebook has a bunch of them, but there are some Bubble Talks that are not on there, and you can find that on my YouTube page called Espresso with Sky. You can find all the Bubble Talks and also Lockdown Tuesdays on there too, and just subscribe, click the bell, and you'll be able to see everything, and every week it'll be uploaded too. Also, for those of you who would like to study even further about this book of wisdom, the Bible, you guys can sign up. There's going to be a sign-up sheet there for you guys too. I hope you guys enjoyed today's Bubble Talk, and definitely we want you to come each and every week. Enjoy your bubble tea together with me. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This is Sky. Make sure you click subscribe, obliterate that like button, leave some comments, and support us on Patreon. All right, catch you later.